Hello, and welcome to another episode of New Gameplay. Today, I'm your host, Jeff Cork, joined today by my good friend, Leo Vader.
Jeff Cork, my friend, how are you doing today?
Doing so good. How are you?
Really great.
So we're looking at The Division 2. I usually get to ask, what are we looking at? And this time, it's all on me.
Sorry.
I went to beautiful San Francisco, California for an event where we got to play some of the open world, started at the beginning of the game, and then skipped ahead, got to play some like missions, and then skipped ahead to a little bit of end game content also. So this is right near the beginning, where we are
taking back the house.
Taking back the house, the White House.
Olympus has fallen.
Olympus has fallen. We're gonna help it get back up.
That's great.
This is probably about 5 minutes after I started playing, so you'll see I'm firing a lot of warning shots just to get everyone...
Suppressive fire!
Yes, exactly. The solo suppressive fire thing, which...
Cool. And you've never played a video game before, is that correct?
That's correct. I heard about it and I figured this time I would finally take the plunge and see what all the fuss is all about.
All right.
Here it is.
Let's go sequentially.
Let's do it sequentially. Then,
starting from the start. We can't show character creation at this time.
No.
But did it seem rich?
Yeah, it seemed... I hit random several times and... each random selection was more offensive than the last. Let's just say there's a wide array of facial configurations. There are some that I probably would be fired if I were to show it. And we ended up with this version. I look like one of the Joker's goons.
Yeah.
And she's pretty cool.
You're a Gotham City imposter.
Yeah, she has like some kind of silver contact lens thing going on there.
Yeah.
Some cool paint on her face. And anyway, so here I've gotten a distress call from the White House.
Trump is in trouble.
They're in trouble, and then like those on the radio, they're like, "Oh, looks like there's a single agent making their way over here. You can do it."
Nice.
So it's a very exciting moment.
This is before you can party up, probably?
This is before you could probably party up, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Something new I've seen you do already.
Yes, sir.
Is use a med kit.
Yeah.
Which obviously we're in the first one, but now it's a timed thing you have to do. They call it a channel in gaming, since you have to stop and focus on healing instead of just being able to inject yourself and have your health back up immediately.
And one thing that I loved about The Division, and I had forgotten about how much I loved it until I got back into this, I love the way that the cover system works. It is my favorite, moving from cover to cover, and at this point I think I'm finally remembering, oh yeah, I need to do that more often, because it's a pretty lethal game if you're playing fast and loose like I like to do.
Yeah. A cover-based game like this, it becomes all about positioning and being smart with where you're taking cover. You can just treat it like a shooting gallery, but that's less effective and less fun.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So now you want to save the White House, correct?
I want to save the White House.
You're pro-White House.
I am pro-White House. This is not a political game, though.
No.
The fact that the White House has been taken over by bad guys in the most apolitical way ever. There are...
As they were taking it over, they said, we're just doing this randomly.
This just happens to be
This is the first house we saw.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So they were saying, remember, the first division, the post office was kind of your base of operations.
Yeah.
They said that wasn't really an iconic location in New York.
It wasn't exciting to people.
People hated it. No, they didn't say that, but...
It pissed me off.
Pissed me off every time. Now we got the White House, so that's your base of operations, which is very exciting.
That's honestly cool.
Some said you could never go inside the White House in a video game. And to that we say, suck it, Joe Juba. Here we are. So at this point, I'm just kind of going through the menus and look at all the stuff. I think for this build, they did not have any of the cosmetic drops available, so you'll notice... unless we skip ahead a lot, I pick up a lot of gloves and knee pads.
Yeah.
I'm not getting new pants or shirts or any of that kind of stuff, but rest assured, if you're into the cosmetic stuff like I am typically, there's just an abundance of that, they say. All right, we talked to a guy and it was very exciting. He says we need to talk to the quartermaster to get some equipment, and then we've got to go talk to a person named Odessa who needs our help, and she's in one of the strongholds. Or not strongholds, safe houses, sorry.
So you're still running around talking to people.
Still talking to people. Here's the quartermaster, and here I've got a couple of skills that I've unlocked. And looking, as you can see, some of them are unavailable in this build, but I'm a huge fan of the turret. Yeah. So you got 3 different options there. The sniper is more of a manual. You choose the target and do it this way. I like the assault one, which is just kind of like if you're a big dumb guy like I am, you drop it and it attacks stuff for you.
Yeah, not a thinking man's gadget.
Classic. It's kind of a bludgeon.
Yes. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And then what else did I grab? I think I grabbed the Seeker Mine, I believe.
Drone is interesting because, like you said, first off, it's interesting that all these different variations are available from the jump. I remember those used to be things you had to unlock in the Division 1.
Yes.
But now right away you're choosing a specific way to go.
And you can see, real quick, look at the slots there for the different mods, like a drive slot, targeting slot. There's like, each of these abilities has like a whole bunch of different things you could mod as well.
That's cool.
There's going to be a ton of depth there. I think for the assault rifle or the turret, you could have different barrels and things like that. So presumably shift things significantly.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things to do in the Division 1 is just build an interesting build. Just being creative with the systems. There's plenty of room for that in the first one, at least when I got into it in 1.8 or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's one of the things that people had a big criticism with the Division at launch. Once you got to the end game, there was not a whole lot to do. So a lot of people fell off. And then those of us who returned later benefited from a pretty robust series of things that they did add. And they're saying that with the Division 2, it's going to launch with the vast majority of that stuff in place.
The end game content?
Exactly. So we actually have a little bit of that we can show later.
Cool. I like that. Anthem also recently did that from BioWare. They ran a preview event where they gave a sense of what the end game would be like. It's interesting that developers are learning to get ahead of that since they know that that's something people take into serious consideration when getting into these types of games.
Yeah.
The neighborhoods you'll be moving through are hyena territory.
So we were running a 4-person squad, but I think I soloed it out in the open world for a lot of the time.
Very cool. Very
It
badass.
was very cool. Very badass. Lone wolves.
Yep.
Need apply.
So you spent more time in the open world.
Yes.
You were initially worried because you liked the Division 1's look so much with the snow-covered city and your snow outfits.
Yes.
Were you sold on warm DC anymore after spending more time there?
I think that maybe, like, on its face, this is a little less interesting, but I think at the same time, the setting does allow them to do more with the weather. So there's rain, there's fog, things that affect gameplay. Like, I don't know that we'll see it here, but I did play a section where it was foggy and it was really difficult to discern where the enemies were at times, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Thank you.
That's a very smart observation, man. Combat feels largely the same.
Yeah, it feels great. And one of the things that I really enjoyed about it is I, at a certain point, picked up a shotgun and equipped it. And I think the Division does shotguns very well, where they're not like, if you're farther than 10 feet away, they're just completely ineffective. Like, they're very deadly at range also, which is nice.
Yeah, cool.
For me, it's nice. And whoever set up DC, very thoughtful placement of explosive tanks and cans everywhere. So if you like setting enemies on fire,
including on people's backs, I hope.
Oh,
did you see a lot of fire extinguishers on backs?
I didn't see any fire extinguishers on backs. There's some guys with chain guns, and if you shoot the belts, you can make the guns lock up. Forcing them to reload, kind of break their firing animations, which is fun.
I loved the weak points on enemies in the Division 1. It was fun so fun to go for those.
Yeah.
All my friends were just assaulting them from the front.
And here they've got like armor that breaks off too, so it kind of gives you more of an in-universe explanation as to why it takes 2,000 shots to finally bring a guy to his knees.
Right. Now those people are scavenging, it says.
Yes. Not for long. These guys, this is the hyena faction, right? There are 3 main factions in the campaign. These guys are kind of the scavengers. Okay, this is where this video ends.
Right.
All right, we jumped a little bit ahead. Anyway, the hyenas, their big gimmick is that they are fond of using this drug called spice, which they inhale, and a little icon above their heads, like when they're going to throw a grenade, you see a grenade icon to give you time to react or like prevent them from doing it. Here it's like a pill appears, and when they are under the influence of spice, it gives them a little more vigor and confidence to run up to you with a club and try to brain you with it. So
that's what I do.
Absolutely.
When on recreational drugs.
Yeah, big spice fan.
Yeah. I like that. I like having each faction be a little more distinct like that. A little more clever.
Yeah, there are like plenty of times where, as with any game that has multiple factions, that they don't get along, so you can just watch dudes fight each other.
Pop quiz.
Yes, sir.
Can you name the other factions and what they're like?
Yeah, there are the True Sons. They are kind of the commando ex-military guys who believe that they have the right to take over what is left of society. And oh boy, this.
And do they?
I disagree. I think the Division. I believe the Outcasts. Is that the other one? I think. Oh, they're cool. I may have that one wrong, but I think they're real stinkers.
Okay.
There's also a fourth faction, the Black Tusks, and they're kind of like the PMC. They're the faction that actually, like, they have uniforms. They are equipped with high-end military gear. They can launch drones. They have those quadruped, big dog-like robots that will attack. I think you will see some of those a little bit later.
Yeah.
It's a completely different deal when you fight with them.
To address something I just saw and didn't know about and is very exciting to me.
Yes?
When you were hovering over that loot, instead of picking it up, there was a button to just deconstruct it right away.
It's very cool, right?
I love that. That's
Yeah.
so clever. Instead of just cluttering up your inventory until eventually you have to go through it and deconstruct everything you're not going to use.
Yep.
That is such a clever feature. I think other games will probably rip that off, honestly.
Yeah. Just give me the raw materials.
Yeah.
So I'm standing outside the gates, which is a perfect time to just look at my loot, apparently.
Yeah, just look down at your legs and put your back to the door that just opened. That's very smart.
I was born in a barn.
Using
All
the
right.
trucks as doors.
It's very cool.
Very cool.
Oh, no.
Don't do it, Cork. Nobody cares whether you can kill the dogs or not. Nobody's going to do it.
You can. There are, like, wild animals in the city. There are, like, ravens or crows, deer, dogs, raccoons, rats. I can confirm that all of them can be killed, and according to Ubisoft, there's no benefit to doing so.
There's never going to be a hunting
You
mission.
can't skin them and make wallets. Even Far
Yeah.
Cry has moved away from that, so
Yeah.
it's just the thrill of shooting a golden retriever, you absolute monster.
We noticed a
Leo.
huge uptick in people crying since we made you kill these beautiful animals
Yeah.
in all these games.
So this is a safe house, and I'm going to help Odessa find her daughter. And these sections, there's a lot more kind of a gameplay loop built around helping them find materials and expanding them so that they improve over time, which is kind of neat. It's not just a static area that you visit. You kind of have a little bit of gameplay attached to it. And there's a ton of like side missions and things that pop up here. These return. I run past it. I'll get to it later. Those rappelling things that you drop down the ropes.
Cool, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, to kiss Ubisoft ass a little bit.
What's that?
To kiss Ubisoft ass,
Yes.
I think they're very good at having a ton of unique assets in their games. By virtue of them being such a gigantic studio, I'm sure.
Yes.
But in the Division 1, every hideout feeling so different and looking completely different. I feel like very few studios can achieve that at the rate that Ubisoft puts out games, you know?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's 15 different Ubisofts putting out games, but I still appreciate it about them.
The sun never sets on Ubisoft.
Well put. Well put.
Thank you. Yeah, so nowadays you can see the whole world is the dark zone once the sun goes down. No, there's three of them, but they're scattered throughout. We did a whole video on
It's just a
the
joke.
dark zone. Yeah, come on, guys. Just trying to have some fun here.
Yeah, come on. Line it up.
Yeah.
What was that little monument indicator?
That's so you can see a cinematic view of points of interest. So if the theater that we'd seen earlier that I just discovered, or like the White House, for instance, just lets you appreciate the grandeur. It does it, at least in this build. It didn't go away after doing it the first time. So I activated it like 2 or 3 times thinking, I see a prompt that says hit down to observe. I'm like, oh, it's this still. Oh, well.
I love grandeur.
Yeah, this is 7 months after the events of the First Division. Things have really gone to hell.
They're worse.
Yeah. And you can, apparently, like, these guys are going to gather food. You can accompany them, provide backup as they do their little routine.
It's a real thing they go to do.
Yeah.
It's not just flavor text.
Yeah, there's a point later when I walk out of the base, and then they're returning with some supplies that they've found. And then also, like, if you're in an area like a control point, if you have built up a safe house and help them out, you could shoot a flare in the sky and call them for assistance, and they will actually help you fight. The reason being, like, this time around, the civilians are in the world because they've survived and are good at fighting and are able to kind of survive on their own.
That's very interesting.
Unlike the last guys that just wanted water for pants.
Scum of the earth.
Scum of the earth, exactly. All right, we're jumping way ahead. This is some endgame stuff.
We jumped ahead 50 hours
50,
about,
50
right?
hours, exactly. So we've got tons of high-end weapons and gear. You can see I've got a nice new shirt that I'm really into. And this is against the Black Tusk factions. You can see they've got, that's one of those like big dog robots that is a real problem. And these guys will call in drones, like I said earlier, and they're super well equipped. One of the cool things about endgame in this is that once that kind of section of your journey begins, this faction does appear just in the open world also, so they're not just isolated to these kind of encounters or like these what do you call them, the strongholds or anything like that.
And do they get unique events in the open world, or do they kind of replace where they just randomly pull
We
a faction?
didn't get to mess around in the open world that was infested with the Black Tusks, so
Okay.
I can't say
You don't even know if it really happens. You're just taking Ubisoft's word for it.
It's basically true.
It's hearsay at this point.
Yeah.
from
We're at the
developer.
National Air and Space Museum, which...
Yeah. That's cool. This is what I'm talking about with the unique assets. Like
Yeah, there's like a
cool
bit of a
mission areas.
narrated tour talking about the grandeur of space and stuff, and the enemies are shooting from above, and I had to do like a quick 360 just to get my bearings here.
Yeah.
Those guys like to be set on fire.
They like it.
They like it a lot.
Okay.
It's kind of their
The
thing.
pervert faction.
Yeah, they're a pervert faction, Black Tusks.
In the end game here, do you have any abilities or guns or anything that made it more fun? Anything
Yeah,
exciting
it was like night and day because I've been playing, you know, the other version for several hours and kind of using the best weapons I could scrounge, and I was still having a pretty good time. But this time was just ridiculously overpowered, like nice SMGs. I had a scoped rifle that was really nice. So it was super fun. Here I had the sniper turret equipped, which I don't think I liked it quite as much because, like I said,
How are you
I'm
giving it
lazy.
targets? Is that what the LB is?
yes,
When you're aiming, you
exactly
say
hit
shoot at
LB
that?
and then it kind of does its thing. I found that it was a little too fussy for the way that I like to play.
Yeah.
Where I was just like, I don't want to micromanage this other thing when I'd rather just take care of it myself.
It sounds cool to me conceptually, but yeah,
Yeah.
if you're already aiming at them, you
Yeah.
know, and can drop them in 3 seconds,
Exactly.
it's generally the easiest way to go.
Yeah.
How about perks on the weapons? Anything game changing that you noticed?
Nothing really. That was a nice warning shot. I was saying,
Yeah.
Get out
Don't
of
put
here,
your
sir.
head over where that bullet went.
nope. Look out. No, I didn't really see any super great perks or anything like that. It's I will say it's difficult to jump in and like, here's all this endgame stuff and just like,
Yeah.
it's my excuse for not completely understanding everything at that point.
Sure, it's fed gradually for a reason. for
Yeah.
sure. Easier to understand.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed that part of the Division 1 as well, the variety. Having a sniper that would embed bullets in people and
Yep.
then explode 3 seconds later.
Oh yeah. You
Like,
do
all the exotics are
super
cool.
cool, fun stuff in the first division, and I fully expect it to be the same, if not even better.
I was all excited to go back to the Division 1
Yeah.
and get some of those shields and stuff.
Yeah.
That game, it crashes every 5 minutes for me now.
Why?
I don't know. It never did it before. I reinstall it. It still happens. It
Yeah.
says that I disconnect from the server. It's not really a crash. It's just a server disconnect.
Oh,
To what's the opposite of kissing, Ubisoft ass?
kicking.
To kick some Ubisoft ass.
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
Yeah.
So hopefully this game is better at launch.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, obviously they've said all the right things about how they're trying to pick up where the Division 1 left off, but remains to be seen if any company can really do that.
Yeah.
You know, it's a risky to start fresh, honestly.
Yeah.
But I have high hopes for this.
Yeah. Absolutely. Cool.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much for listening to me yak about the Division 2, Leo.
And a private beta starts really soon.
Yeah, it's true.
So for people who pre-ordered and for people who got in the private beta,
You're gonna have some fun.
yeah, let's just say you're gonna have some fun.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Bye.
Mark.